Hey guys, welcome to my half moon table area where I like to display my dry beans because yes, I am very proud of my dry beans and maybe not have any place else to put them, who knows. Anyway, so I love growing dry beans. I will preface that they are a lot of work, but they just scream self-sufficient. They just scream to me like, I have food, I've got protein in a bean, this is fabulous, right? They're dry, they stay around for a really long time, so I really like them. So I just thought I'd kind of talk to you a little bit about dried beans. They are typically bush plants, which means that they do not need a trellis or anything to grow high on. So they get a couple feet tall usually, and they start off just like your normal bean, and then inside all the pods, you'll see the bean get fatter and fatter. And then when that pod is full and you can actually see the bumps of the beans, that typically is that they are done growing, which takes a couple months. I then pull the plants to start the drying process, and you can do that in a couple different ways. A lot of like last year, I just literally just pulled all the roots out of the ground, and then I laid them around, or I stuck them in my fence, just because the importance of airflow is like, you just really need the good airflow around the dry bean to continue drying, or they will get moldy. So if you get a really wet season, then you need to go ahead and try to figure out, put them in your barn or something like that. Don't stack them on top of each other. Come up with some kind of fencing that they can dry. You can get rid of the leaves if you want, but you want them to continue to dry on the vine for as long as possible. And then what we like to do is then eventually bring them in the house, and then we will go ahead and put all the little people to work for shelling all the beans. So these are the beans that we did it this year. So we did, this is my first year doing it. I had a friend that did these calypso beans, and they are just adorable. They're our little mini whale. I don't know if I'll be able to show you on here like that if I don't drop them. But they are cute. They are little black and white, and they look just like a whale. Oh, they're just adorable. So these are dried beans. And again, you want to make a 15 bean soup. That would be one of them. You only have 14 more to go or whatever. The other ones that I really like growing is the pinto beans. And you can, these are what I use for refried beans right here. These pretty bad boys right here. So we'll use a lot of those. I got a couple containers of pinto beans because we go through a lot of refried beans. I use them and I add them to all my Mexican dishes. So every time I make tacos, it makes that 1 pound of meat go a little bit farther when you add a nice jar of home refried beans. So I will make them in the crock pot. You'll see the recipe down below if you'd like to make those as well. You're not able to pressure can them. If you listen to one of my videos before about canning, since refried beans is a thick thing, the heat can't penetrate into the middle even if you pressure can it, so it wouldn't be safe. Of course, they do that somehow at the manufacturing plants, but at home, I believe that it's not feasible. So I make up a big 10-quart crock pot, and then I just freeze them into freezer-safe jars, leaving that little space, in the freezer, because things like to expand and crack. So you got to be careful with that. And I only use glass; I don't use plastic. So there's that. That's a little rabbit hole we went down, huh? And then also kidney beans. These are beautiful things. There's another bean for your 15 bean soup. We use that a lot for chili, and so we use that. And then I also use black beans. They are a little bit smaller bean. They are more difficult to shell apart because they are smaller, especially compared to the bigger kidney bean. But we will use the black beans again for all of our Mexican dishes and stuff like that. And I add that to a lot of casseroles. And it's a nice filler that is a protein, and it stretches all the meals and everything like that. So we put a lot of focus into dry beans the last couple of years just because I think they're cool. I just think and they're pretty. That's not pretty, right? These are wheat berries and these are corn, so those aren't beans. But so how to use them, I will go ahead and use my crock pot to make the refried beans for these. And for the kidney beans and the black beans, you will follow a canning method to do those. You basically soak them overnight so they get a little bit softer. And then at that point, you can either put them on your stove top and bring them to a boil and let them cook until they are soft. I find that the kidney beans just have the hardest time of ever getting to that texture of softness. They're just a little too hard. So my favorite way is to go ahead and pressure can them. So I will soak overnight. I will follow the directions to go ahead and pressure can them the next day. And then I've got, just like if you went to the store, I would just go to my pantry, pop open a nice jar of black beans or kidney beans and use it in whatever I want. And then, you know, so it's much easier. But there are some extra steps in all these process that you have to do. But again, part of it is about food security, knowing that I grew these things organic. There's nothing bad about these at all. They're healthy, they stretch the budget, and they can kind of sit here until I can do something with them, which is really nice. So that's why I really like to do dried beans. They're just a little trickier when, just to make sure that airflow when they're drying out, that they don't turn moldy. If the pod turns moldy, but not the bean inside, I usually keep those. If they start to look questionable, then those are my seeds. Then I will then plant for next year. So these are one of those great things where you buy the seed one time, you go ahead and plant them, you just save some of those seeds from the pods and keep the continuous process of going over and over. So I will literally just save out a handful of these and go plant this again this year. And so that's really self-sufficient, and it's just awesome, right? Dry beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more I'll let you finish that one. All right, see you guys. So here are some beans that I've planted probably almost 2 weeks ago, and they're doing good. These are black beans. I'm really excited for them. But if we go down the line, we'll notice that we are starting to miss some holes and stuff like that, and they're getting smaller. Now the soil is not the best as I move down towards the garden, but I just want you to know, like, even though you don't see them above ground, if you go and look really quick, or if you start to dig around, you'll see a little guy right there. He's just starting to pop up. Sometimes even if you just lightly dig in the ground, you'll be able to see them come up. So don't give up on them yet. Just go ahead and give a little, here's another one. Just give them a little quick in the ground like this and see if you can see them or not. And then if they're there, pack them back in. If not, then plant a new seed, because we still have plenty of time. So, and you'll be able to see the beans are down here like this. And then you'll actually see, here's one that you can barely see. Where is it? Let's see. Right there. And then you'll be able to see some really cool spots where the dirt starts to pop up. And you're like, oh, there you guys are. So that's kind of what I'm doing with beans. See if they're there. If they're not there, then go ahead and replant them. See, it gets much less down here, but they're coming. So they're going to be here, so it's okay. So that's beans. So we want to make sure if the beans aren't there that you're replanting the beans. And then as far as for tomatoes, I'm using these hog panels and cattle panels, whatever you guys got. These are the best ways to be able to stake them up that I have found. So like for this guy right here, excuse my shadow, try to get out of the way. For this guy right here, the best way to go ahead and do that is when they're small like this, is to just give them a train. You're just training them. So you're just going to put them in here, and they'll, be careful with them because they're small. You just got to get them in there like that. And then you can wrap their little, it's hard to do it with one hand, wrap their stems around it, and we'll get them in there. And then you just got to give them a quick train like that. And so some of these are looking pretty stressed out, but the weather, like I said, has been really cold, and rightly so. They should be stressed out. It's been cold and kind of damp a little bit. It was really dry, really cold. So I think we're on the mend. We're going to get going here with the hot weather, and they're going to start to really take off. So they look a little dead at the bottom, as you can see, but if you move up towards the top, that's all the green growth that's doing really good. So what you could do is, say on this one right here, you can come in here and go ahead and give them a quick trim of these dead ones, because they're not going to recover, and the plant is spending energy to repair them, and they need to be picked anyways because they're towards the ground, because you want to keep trimming them up as they get bigger and bigger, especially those ones that have like some sun shock or it's been too cold. So like this one right here, see right there, I'm going to go ahead and give that one a little trim off, and then we'll be good. So there's your beans and tomatoes. So good luck with the garden this year. I think things are going to work out. We just had to get through some cold spells first. This row that we have right here in front of me, that row right there that you see, those are potatoes. We absolutely love potatoes, but we're talking all about the beans, so don't let me get sidetracked, which can be very easily for me. So these are actually black beans. These are a dry bean, but it's basically the same thing as a bush bean. They do not need that big long trellis or a pole to grow on. They just are basically little bush beans. So you would plant these the exact same way, double the length down into the ground,
And I plant them about this far apart. I kind of get them smushier together than a lot what they recommend, but it seems to work out okay. Then you're just going to let them grow. Now these guys will give you, the bush beans will give you a harvest a lot quicker than the pole beans because they're spending so much energy to grow into the very long thing. The bush beans, you can get them done so quick. You could do a couple, you could do these in succession. You can harvest and then they'll put more on. You can harvest and put more on. You can do this in the middle of July, end of July, maybe even into August because they can get done in 45 to 60 days for a bush bean. So if you haven't planted yet and you're listening to this video, go throw some beans in somewhere. They're magic beans. They're absolutely best thing to plant in the garden. Make your kids do it. They will absolutely love it, and they're easy to grow, which is great for every gardener. So, so these in particular are dry beans that I will go ahead. I have poles down here on each side, and then I will string lots and lots of string, maybe like 3 different strings to help keep mine a little bit off the ground when they start growing, just because you don't want your dry beans to get moldy because you are actually preserving the beans inside. You don't want moldy beans, right? So you want to make sure that they have airflow, and I keep them a little bit off the ground with the string that's kind of going on each side, and then I just kind of like lay their leaves on there. These I will leave out here for till they'll turn yellow. The pods will start to actually turn dry, and I will just pull the plants out, each plant like this, and I will actually stick them into my fence holes. So they're just, put the roots through it, and they're just laying there like that. That makes them dry out even quicker. They're off the ground. They're in the sunshine, and they're drying as much as possible. Then eventually when they are pretty dry, I go ahead and put them, we will take all the pods off the vines, and we will put those into totes. And this part, you need to make sure that they are really consistently dry so that they don't start molding on the bottom. We have an outdoor wood boiler that's in a building, and it's really dry heat. So we just put them in there. You could bring them in the house. You could just leave them in single layers instead of piling them up. And then eventually we will have a child stand in the tote and stomp, 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 stomp to stomp out all of the pods from the shells. So that way, or from the beans from the pods, and then that way, then we sift through it, and then we kind of leave them on cookie trays for as long as possible to make sure they're dry. And that's when I'm using my fingernail to see if they're denting. If they are denting, they're not dry enough yet. Once they stop denting, I go ahead and put them into half-gallon or gallon jars, and then I go ahead and use them as a dry bean, which we use a lot of soups. I do pinto beans for refried beans. The black beans will be for any kind of my Mexican dishes or casseroles, and we do kidney beans as well for chili. So those are the 3 beans that we do that we do typically every year. But the bush beans, you're going to pick them again when they're about 6 to 8 inches, depending on the variety. Some of them may be, like long. And you'll want to pick them more consistently, like at 6 inches, where that nice tender type of situation that they're in. And then that way they'll put more flowers on, and you'll keep getting continual harvest. And those ones you can pressure can, or you can pickle them, or you can just blanch and put them in the freezer, depending on what kind of equipment and space and all that kind of stuff. You got to put, there's a lot of factors in there. You got a lot of freezer room, blanch them and throw them in your freezer. Then you can just kind of grab them out when you need the appropriate amount that you need. So with seed saving, the dry beans are literally drying out on the pod just like the trellis ones. So you just save some of your dry beans that you put in your house or wherever. The bush beans, you will let some stay on the vine. You probably will accidentally forget some, which works out great. Those are the ones that you're going to let grow as long as possible, start to dry out and get brittle, and then do the same exact process as growing or drying those out so that you can plant them again next year. So that's what's great about beans. They are very difficult to cross-pollinate. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. They can, but typically they do not cross-pollinate because they have all the little parts that they need inside each of their actual flowers. They don't need like a pumpkin or a squash needs to be, there's a male and a female bloom. Those need to be those need to be pollinated, right? They need to do their thing. Beans, you don't have to do that, which is great. So then you can seed save and then never buy beans again and feed your family wonderful things. And if you're thinking, my kids will not eat beans, Laura, you just need to knock it off with this bean talk. I think, and I challenge you, if you give your kids some bean seeds and they plant it on their own and they tend to it and take care of it and watch them grow, and you can even talk about the lessons of life and God and how, we all need that little bit of warmth and nutrients. It's just exactly what he gives us. We start off as a seed, right? The word from him starts off as a seed and it can flourish. Same with the trellis beans. You've seen how beautiful those are, right? We can all be the same way. So you can have that moment to talk to your kids about God and beans. But I'll go back to the food portion if you have some picky kids. I find it when they grow their own stuff, they actually want to snack on it more. And even if they only eat it fresh and they don't want to bring it in and like eat it during the winter after you preserved it, that's okay. Baby steps. You just got to take baby steps to get your kids to think about food differently. And beans are just really one of the ways to go ahead and just do it. So do you understand now why I say that beans are absolutely underrated superstars of the garden? They are easy to grow. You can seed save. Once you buy them, they're free. You can do space saving and they fix the soil. This stuff is absolutely amazing. So I challenge you to go forth and plant the beans. All right, I'm starting to work on harvesting the dry beans. These particular ones right here are my black beans. There's no time left really in the season that they're going to grow anymore. So, and I can tell that they're ready because when I look at the pods, I can actually, it's probably hard to tell in here, but I know that inside there is the size of the black bean that I want. So they're done growing. They're just kind of sitting in the ground, and the ground is wet every morning, so it's just kind of hanging out here. And we don't want them to get moldy, right? Moldy beans are no good, and I want to eat these. So right now, here's where I haven't pulled them out yet, but I'm just simply pulling them out, flipping them over, using the string that I have up to kind of just hold them up off the ground a little bit. All the green foliage is on the bottom. Now the root can start drying out and the pods can all start drying out. And I'll use that beautiful sunshine that God has given us to go ahead and start drying these out. And then eventually we'll hang them somewhere and then we'll go through and pick all the pods. Here's another way that you can hang them too. Here's my fence that I have. I'm just starting to stick them in the fence right here just to, again, let the sun do its job, which is brilliant. And here are some kidney beans here. So I pulled the pinto beans, started pulling kidney and black beans, and then I also pulled the dragon tongue beans too. So they're all hanging out, man, hanging loose. So that's what I'm doing with the dry beans. Let's talk about dry beans. Right here in this row right here are kidney beans. And you want to, for dry beans, you need to leave them out as long as possible without it getting too wet outside. So these are just starting to die back now, as you can tell. If I was having a really rainy season, you could go ahead and start picking them, because if you see inside the pod, they are looking fatter. So I know inside that they have grown to as much as that they can. They just need to continually to dry out. But I would like to leave these out as long as possible outside to let nature do its job, because the sun and what God has designed is usually the best. If it was a rainy season, I would probably pull up the plants if they were really died back and let's say it was rainy, and I would just hang them somewhere where it was in the shade and it was nice and ventilated, and as long as it just wasn't keep getting too wet. So those are dry beans, like kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans, those type of beans. And then you leave them in the shell as long as possible just to dry out, and then you can use those to either cook with, right, can, or seed save some of them for next year. All right, let's find our next thing.